Sit down. This world of government belongs to you. She is renowned worldwide. I mean, renowned worldwide. Hey, I want you again, and again to greet Dr. Mike Angelou.
This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. In the winter, when I'm job hunting, I'm going to let it shine. Everywhere I go, when I'm refused a place to rent, which is available, I'm going to let it shine. Then I walk out of the doctor's office with information I didn't know. I'm gonna let it shine when I am totally indecisive. When I wonder if he or she or anybody loves me, and I even begin to doubt God, I'm gonna let it shine. Thank you. Thank you, Reverend Sister. Thank you, Reverend Bell. Thank you, Reverend Jan. Thank you, Reverend Glide Ensemble. And thank you, Glide, all members and friends and first-time visitors. Thank you. I thank you for lighting up this place, for lighting up everywhere you are. I thank the Glide High Steppers, hot diggity duck. I thank the orchestra, which just sets you. I mean, you cannot help. You can be stiff or you can be a conservative. I thank Reedy for his constancy. The truth is, whether politicians said it or not, each of us has immeasurable light. We have come from light. The Creator is light. And the poet says, each of us comes from the Creator trailing wisps of glory. Each of us has light. And if we choose to, it is a choice. If we choose to, we can bathe ourselves in light. Our very own light that has been given to us by God. I believe that. I believe that the time will come when we'll be able to heal ourselves. I believe that. And I think it's going to come with a choice to expand and do and better. We will be able, if we can stay alive, if we can diminish the hate and ignorance, if we can diminish the violence and the vulgarity in our own selves, and then in our families, and in our communities, in our church, in our streets, in our radios and television, if we can reduce that, we continue to try to diminish that. Every time a hard word comes out of your mouth, stop. Hold yourself. The West African women say, hold your weapon. Each time you get ready to say something cruel about somebody who isn't even there, hold your weapon. Hold it. Diminish the cruelty. Diminish the hate. Diminish the vulgarity. Every time the word comes in, say this. But go there and say it. Wherever they are, they're all ours. Whatever they look like, they are ours. I wanted to ask my family to stand. The family stand. When we know enough, we already know, but when we know that we know, when we admit that we know, when someone says, will the family walk in, it would be all Korean, you would walk in. The time will come when someone will say, will the family stand up, and it's in a synagogue. The time will come, if we are fortunate, if we are courageous, it will come when if the family is all black and you are white, you say, yes, I am. Yes, thank you. The family is all gay and you're straight, they say, stand up, yes, I am. It is so important that we see ourselves as light. It is so important. And that we have the ability not only to bathe ourselves and the children in light, but everyone we see. When we come to it, it is going to be amazing. You see, when you come to blind, it feels as if somebody's lifted a whole house down. Can you imagine what it would be like if that was the same feeling you got when you went into your office? Or into your hotel? Or into the kitchen? Suppose, now this is really something. Suppose that was the same feeling you got when you went into your bedroom. Of unconditional love. Can you imagine the sweetness that would take place? Voices would become softer. Words would become sweeter. We could just try it. And I was so pleased to hear Reedy sing This Little Light of Mine, because I've been thinking about talking to God since Reverend Cecil Williams said to me, sister, you got to do it. I am so tight, sister, you got to do it. So I've been thinking about it. and for the second you are healed. Yes. Suppose it just kept on coming. Well, nobody switched it off. Suppose no one unplugged it. Suppose you didn't have a ground. So I look at Clyde and see it itself, the dream of Clyde as a light. And I have seen Reverend Cecil Williams in various places in the world. And I'm so proud and so grateful that while he is my friend and my brother, he's also my spiritual leader. So when he stands up in Wales, he stands up in North Carolina, whenever he stands up, I just relax. Because I know it's going to be said. The light will shine on everybody there. The short people, the young people, the quiet, the loud, the rambunctious, the timid, everyone will shine. So when I talk about light, I talk about reading a poet. You knew I could read it. I'm going to tell you the story behind this poem. In 1945, I was 16 and pregnant. I was unmarried in San Francisco. And the decision had been made to establish the United Nations. So the people came to San Francisco to lay the foundation for the United Nations. And the newspapers, there were then there were 3 newspapers. And all of them, the Call Bulletin, the Chronicle, and the Examiner, all had wonderful stories about the simultaneous translators and how much they were paid, like $120 a week or something outrageous. It seemed to me just the most money in the world. I knew I had a penchant for different languages, and I speak a number and teach in some. I would go down to Venice and stand to watch the people go into United Nations. And I watched Mrs. Eleanor Roosevelt with her good friend, Dr. Mary McLeod, the black lady who was a counselor to presidents. And I watched them go in. And I would watch women in saris and kimono. And I just thought, if I'm not from black and 6 foot tall and female and pregnant and unmarried, I could go in there. And I'm sure I could be a simultaneous translator. I'm sure of it. And make $120 a week. And give half of it away because I didn't know what to do with it. Of course, I did continue to press on and press on with it incredibly constant. God bless anybody who speaks. With incredible courage to let my light shine everywhere. And when I don't, I'm human, I forgive myself immediately. I said, that was dumb. Okay, I won't do that again. I hope not today anyway. The one courage, as you know, I have to say courage is the most important of all the virtues. Because without courage, you cannot practice any other virtue consistently. You can't be all the time kind, true, generous, just, merciful, and loving. Not always. You can be anything erratic sometimes. But to do the thing all the time, you have to have it.
Amen.
And just, I'm interested to just remind you of this. Courage is not something that you are born with, I don't think. I think you develop it. Any more than you're born with great biceps and triceps and so forth and so on. I mean, you develop it. Well, you can develop courage. And one way is not to stay in a room when there are racial pejoratives hurled about. I will not sit in a room where the word nigger is used, or the word honky, or any other pejorative. I will not. Now, since I'm not always courageous, I'm trying to be it, try to let my light shine. But since I'm not always every day, I find ways of leaving the room. And here's one of the ways. I said, oh, goodness, it's already 8:30. I have to be in Bangkok. Courageous, and I said, don't you realize that that is poison? Don't you know that word is poison? And you're poisoning the air. You're polluting the atmosphere. Don't you know that? Don't you know that the environment is crippled by you using that word? Don't you know, don't tell me that you use it because you are one. You're one of those. This was created as poison. It was created to dehumanize people. Whether the word indicates an Asian or a Spanish-speaking person or an Irish person or an Italian or a Jewish person, it was created to belittle. Now, so if you say it's poison, it is poison in a bottle with the letters P-O-I-S-O-N on it. And you take that content and pour it into Bavarian crystal, it is still poison. It's still my encouragement to you in letting your light shine is to remove yourself. When somebody is saying something about gay people, yes, and you are or not, do you hear me? Are or not, that's right. Leave that place. Yes. If it's about old people, yes. Leave women, men, anybody. When it is meant to demean somebody, excuse yourself. That's right. 50 years after I stood there in Venice, the United Nations personnel called me and asked would I write a poem for the world. I look back 50 years. This little light of mine, we, this people, on a small and lonely planet, traveling through casual space, past aloof stars, across the way of indifferent suns, to a destination where all signs tell us it is possible and imperative that we learn a brave and startling truth. And when we come to it, to the day of peacemaking, when we release our fingers from the fists of hostility, when we come to it, when the curtain falls on the minstrel show of hate, and faces sooted with scorn are scrubbed clean, when battlefields and coliseums no longer rate our unique and particular sons and daughters up from bloody and bruised grass, to lay them in identical plots in foreign soil. When the rapacious storming of the churches, the screaming racket in the temples have ceased. When we come to it, when we let the rifles fall from our shoulders, and our children can dress their dolls in flags of truce. When landmines of death have been removed, and our aged can walk into their evenings of peace. When religious ritual is not perfumed by the incense of burning flesh. When childhood dreams are not kicked awake by nightmares of abuse. When we come to it, then we will confess that not the pyramids, with their stones set in perfect and mysterious perfection, nor the gardens of Babylon hanging as eternal beauty in our collective memory, not the Grand Canyon kindled into delicious color by western sunset, nor the Danube flowing its blue soul into Europe, not the sacred peak of Mount Fuji, stretching to the rising sun, neither Father Amazon nor Mother Mississippi, who without favor nurture all creatures in their depths and on those shores. Those are not the only wonders of the world. When we come to it, we, this people on this minuscule and kithless globe, who reach daily for the bomb, the blade, the dagger, yet who petition in the dark for tokens of peace. We, this people, on this moat of matter, in whose mouths abide cankerous words which challenge our existence, yet out of those same words can come songs of such exquisite sweetness that the heart falters in its labor and the body is quieted into awe. We, this people, on this small and drifting planet, whose hands can strike with such abandon that in a twinkling, life is sapped from the living. Yet those same hands can touch with such healing, irresistible tenderness that the haughty neck is happy to bow. The proud back is glad to be. Out of such chaos, from such contradiction, we learn we are neither devils nor divines. When we come to it, we, this people on this wayward floating body, created on this earth, have the power to fashion for this earth a climate where every man and every woman can live freely, without sanctimonious piety, without crippling fear. When we come to it, we must confess that we are the possible. We are the miraculous. We are the true wonder of the world. When, and only when, we come to it and say, this little light of mine